Season 4 is when this show really hits its stride, featuring some of the most iconic episodes, like The Night Man Cometh.
You gotta pay the troll toll. If you want to get into that boy's hole, you gotta pay the troll toll to get in.
And we also have the first banned episode, where some networks considered it to be culturally insensitive.
Oh, thank you!
Are you kidding me? That is extremely racist!
Enough!
So yeah, we got a wild ride ahead of us, and my mission of ranking all these episodes is about to get very difficult.
What? We are going to hunt you cricket.
Frank is ticked off at Charlie for cooking his steaks. He hunted the animal, therefore he should be the only one who gets to eat it.
Wait, you shot a deer?
That's right, 10-point buck. Right between its soulful little eyes.
All this talk of hunting inspires Mac and Dennis to go hunting for themselves, but they want to hunt something more challenging than a deer. Of course, Charlie and Dee ignore Frank's warning and keep eating the forbidden meat. Frank, anticipating this betrayal, set aside a special kind of meat for them to find.
You know what you've just eaten, right?
Was it venison?
You wish it was venison. That was human meat.
They don't believe him, but the next morning they feel a strange craving and they go to Chinatown to track down the source of Frank's mysterious meat. And I love this moment where they wonder if the strange meat could have been monkey.
Hey, we got monkey.
Well, will you look at that? Great. One monkey also then, please.
When none of this meat satisfies the craving, they come to accept that Frank was telling the truth, and the craving they have is for human. At the morgue, they can't bring themselves to take a bite, and so the cravings continue. Dee has one of her funniest moments here, where she's pecking at a sandwich like a ravenous bird.
I got an insatiable
I know what the hunger is, D. Don't start telling me about the hunger, okay? I'm feeling it good. Look, this is good.
They resort to seasoning up a homeless guy, but again they lose their nerve. Frank reveals that the meat was raccoon meat, which most likely was infected with a tapeworm. Wait, why is Frank dressed like Rambo? Well, to answer that, we gotta rewind. Dennis and Mac chose cricket as their target for the manhunt, and Frank is dead against this, because he has PTSD from when he was hunted. But he's mixing up his experience with the plot of Rambo.
They drew first blood.
What is that? Is that Rambo?
No, I made that up.
No, yeah. That's Rambo.
You want me to help you or not?
Yes.
Even though it's the title of the episode, I don't like the Manhunter stuff as much as Charlie and Dee's story. Although it is funny that even when cricket gets the upper hand, he still ends up worse off, as the episode ends with Dennis and Mac boxing him in for a teabagging sesh.
It's just you and us and a couple pairs of sour, sweaty balls.
A strong opener for sure, easily beating most of what came before it, but the actual Manhunter stuff keeps it from being at the very top.
Do not blow that firebolt. Whoa! Wow!
With the increasing cost of gas, the guys come up with a plan to take out a bank loan, stock up on gas, and then resell it at a higher price. They made their presentation for the bank loaner on the expectation they'd be speaking to a man, and so they have to resort to plan B by taking off their shirts to sway her mind.
Which one of us do you want to take you in the back and bang you?
When this doesn't work, they steal money from Dee and stock up at a gas station. Mac has the idea to attract customers by using some of the gas to blow fireballs.
It's really unsafe, dude. Do not blow that firebolt. Whoa! Wow!
Charlie then copies the idea but accidentally burns Mac. Meanwhile, Frank and Dee are spying on a guy who they've mistaken for Bruce Mathers, and they wreck his car trying to flee the scene. On their next stakeout, where Mac steals their van, Frank mistakes Mac for a terror bird. It's kind of a dumb scene, but it is funny when Mac crashes into this poor guy's car again. Back at the bar, Frank's waterboarding Dee because he's become paranoid and believes that she's conspiring with the terror bird. And this waterboarding looks pretty realistic because despite the prop master using a wetsuit under the towel, she was actually waterboarded in this scene. Also, Caitlin Olsen filmed this whole episode while recovering from a broken back. That's some next level dedication.
She's watching it and saying, no, that was actually hell. I was being tortured. And she reminded me that her hands are behind her back, which was part of being bound, but also supporting her back, which at this point was broken.
They end up combining their plans, where they kidnap Bruce to get more money to get more gas. On the way, Charlie reveals that he cut the brakes as part of the plan, as the assigned wild card of their group.
You do have something to do. You're the wild card. You sit there looking crazy and capable of anything. Yeah.
Oh! Why aren't the brakes working?
Because I cut the brakes! Wild card, bitches! Yeah!
The gang realise the guy they've been terrorising isn't Bruce, after the van ploughs into his car and sets it ablaze.
Why is someone trying to ruin my life?
That's not Bruce, is it?
No.
A pretty good episode, and again the quality exceeds most of the previous seasons. It's far from being a favourite of mine, but 8th place on the list feels fair.
You're supposed to white boys, right? Can I ask you a question?
Well, here we are, the first banned episode. I hope that talking about this isn't going to get this video demonetised. Paddies are looking to invest their money by advertising on a billboard, and when looking for a model, they immediately rule out D.
Compare me to some sort of giant bird.
You look so much like a bird. Dennis, I was thinking fish recently.
Really?
Yeah, her eyes are so far apart. They're like on the sides of her head.
Okay.
This insult coming from Mac is all the more hilarious when you consider that Rob and Caitlin are married in real life. Frank insists on hiring a male model to pair up with the winning female, and we're introduced to the side character Rex.
Take a look at Rex here. That is a body that just won't quit.
Mac decides on the winning female by essentially putting forward whoever's willing to sleep with him. Dennis and Rex form a rivalry, but Dennis taps out when Frank gives them the challenge of eating cockroaches. But Rex is a determined and slightly mentally challenged competitor. He goes all in.
Jesus, Rex, I didn't tell you to start eating yet.
That doesn't disqualify me, does it?
No, you're good.
It turns out this contest was a waste of time anyway, because Frank's already put up the billboard in a way that he wanted it from the start. Okay, now for the controversial part. Dee's on her own quest to get famous, and decides YouTube is the way to go. Yeah, good luck with that. Actually, to be fair, back in 2008, this was much easier to attain. She goes down the comedy route, trying out all of these very problematic characters. Anything to get those views, eh?
You're supposed to white boys, right? Can I ask you a question? When you be in the clubs and you be dancing, why you look so stupid?
And look, I totally get why streaming services decided to axe this episode. They've got boards of investors to keep happy, and it's just a very corporate safe move. But in the spirit of preserving media, I think it's important that we don't hide this stuff away, because it prevents a conversation from happening. And in this case, there is an important conversation to have, and it's everyone's favourite buzzword right now: context. The context of these jokes is that the gang are selfish, inconsiderate idiots, and sociopaths. When they carry out their plans, they are only thinking about how it's going to benefit them. Dee's doing this because she thinks it's funny, and she'll get views for being funny. She's not doing this because she's racist, she simply doesn't think of how her actions are going to affect others. In her world, no one else matters.
Are you kidding me? That is extremely racist.
Isn't that awesome? I'm so excited about this one.
All right, well, good luck to you on that.
Charlie's acting as a surrogate for the audience here, by calling out the racism. This should be a massive indicator to anyone watching that the writers want you to recognise that Dee is out of line here. It's an obvious lesson, but by pointing it out, it's letting you know that we're not supposed to agree with what we're seeing here. We're supposed to say, wow, this character is completely out of touch with morality. It's because of the context here that the audience is in no danger of wanting to replicate this behaviour and cause any harm to the Asian or Hispanic community. Let's also not forget about the Irish community, although I doubt the networks really cared about them when taking this episode off the air. But yeah, point being, no sane person wants to be like Dee here, or any other member of the gang. I'll be coming back to this point when we get to the Lethal Weapon episodes. Ending on a positive note, Dee's YouTube videos that ended up going viral are Dee's personal video logs, which Charlie Starwand uploaded.
It seems like I have a rash in a place where a sexually active person should have a rash. Man! Oh my god, you put that on YouTube?
Oh my god, I totally did.
Charlie, why would you do that to me?
These videos are actually up on YouTube still, and from the original account I believe.
So, I've got great news. It seems as if my hairline's receding. So, that's awesome, because I'm a girl with a receding hairline.
It's an alright episode overall, but I don't rate it very high. Going here in the bottom half.
Am I peeing? Are you peeing? I told him he was gonna do it.
Mac's filming Project Badass, a video series where he does extremely awesome stunts. Dennis likes it, but Mac feels that Charlie doesn't, and has something against him, as he caught Charlie smashing up a copy of the tape. Regardless, they still consider themselves to be the best of friends. Mac promises that as his best friend, he's going to help find the guy who's been banging the waitress.
He's onto us.
Dennis gets incredibly envious of their best friend status and tries to nudge his way into their sleepover plans. I love Charlie's awkward response, with Dennis trying to include himself.
Let's have a board game night. Chinese checkers. I got
that's kind of foreign.
I got Connect Four is a fun game.
Counting.
It's not that much counting. It's just 1, 2, 3, and then
But
4 you win.
a lot of times you.
His jealousy peaks when he sees that Charlie and Mac have walkie-talkies, but no third one for Dennis. And that's why I went with the walkie-talkie idea for the title cards. It's not my finest idea, but I'm just trying to keep things fresh here. Mac spends the night with the waitress instead of going to the sleepover, and Dennis plants the idea in Charlie's mind that Mac might be the one banging the waitress, so maybe Dennis could be his best friend instead. When Mac finally comes home, Charlie is a complete mess, having drunk all the beer and eaten the entire pizza by himself.
How about you take your mind off of it with some pizza and some beer? Oh, that's right. I ate all the pizza. And I drank all the beer.
He ends up spending the night with Dennis, despite stinking like crazy. Mac accidentally wakes him up while talking with Dennis, and he tries to convince him that he's dreaming.
This is a dream that you're having.
Am I peeing?
Are you peeing?
Oh,
This is peeing.
I told him he was gonna do it.
It turns out the tape Charlie smashed was a tape of the waitress and Frank banging, something she did to get back at Dennis. Charlie loves Project Badass and would never smash one of these tapes, and even helps Mac to film the next one.
Wow.
I really enjoy this one. There's never a dull moment, and the story keeps you invested. Even when, like me, you've seen this episode 100 times already. Not quite as iconic as the top two, so third place feels justified. This episode is hilarious, start to finish. Charlie and Mac are in a parole meeting to confirm their outrageous statements against Luther.
In your sworn statement to police, you've claimed that the prisoner told you that if you didn't, and I quote, jam a bunch of stuff into your butt, he was going to rip you so hard the room would stink.
On top of this, they failed to understand that their microphone will pick up on both of their voices, regardless where it's pointing. Despite their efforts to frame Luther, he gets let off. So yeah, they're gonna die now. They come up with the idea to fake their own deaths to stop Luther from hunting them down. They take out some teeth to leave evidence, but disgustingly, Charlie's just come right out with very little effort.
What? Damn, dude. That's another. Man, you should really brush your teeth more because that is not normal. Oh, Charlie, stop pulling your teeth out like that.
They steal Dee's car and make a plan to ram the car into the wall and jump out at the last second. And this is when we get this iconic clip.
I was going too fast. I was going too fast.
Oh my God! I want to get some gasoline. Holy shit!
They go to a pawn shop and buy a gun, but Mac insists on also buying this wedding dress. His head's all messed up from the concussion. They also bought a grenade, but it ends up being a dud.
That's it?
Weird.
Yeah.
That was totally lame.
That's what grenades do?
It was a very old grenade.
What a jip!
Plan B is that Mac's going to fire the gun at the gas tank, but due to the concussion, he's all over the place. So Charlie gives him some poppers at the same time as he's popping caps, but still no explosion.
New plan. The teeth, the envelope, the crash. I think it's enough. You know,
think that's enough?
Maybe the cops will think we just I don't know, disintegrated?
They leave behind a goodbye tape, and it convinces Frank and Dennis that this is for real. But Dee is more pissed that they wrecked her car. They're up on the rooftop listening to all this go down, and talking about how they're going to survive now they're homeless. You can see Mac breaking character for a split second when Charlie talks about eating a hot dog with no teeth.
You're not gonna be able to eat this hot dog.
I'll suck it down.
The other part of this story is discovering a glory hole in the men's bathroom. This gets Dennis invested in the idea of anonymous banging, so Frank takes him to a supposedly high-profile orgy, but it's just gross, overweight old people who made zero effort with their disguises.
Oh, Jesus Christ. That guy's not even wearing a mask.
Well, he's got the right idea.
Part 2 naturally enhances the story to a greater level, but I'll stick to treating them individually. And even on its own, this one is pretty damn funny. Easily more iconic than the gang dances their asses off, so number 1 it goes.
Alright, Frank, I'll do it. All because I like you so much.
The gang hold a memorial service for Charlie and Mac, where Dennis gets passionately angry about Mac's final wishes of burning the duster.
It probably won't even burn anyway. It's not supposed to. It's flame retardant. That's like the whole point. So stop asking me to burn the duster. I'm not gonna burn it!
A truly terrible and selfish speech, perfectly in line with Dennis's character. They left a slideshow before they quote-unquote died, and I can't play the audio here for copyright reasons, but I'll replace the audio and still show it to you, because it needs to be seen. This second to last picture is just incredible. I want this framed on my wall. Mac's mum falling asleep during the service, perfectly demonstrating the lack of care that anyone outside of the gang has for them, apart from Charlie's mum, Bonnie Kelly. The actor Lynn Marie Stewart sadly passed away this year, and as a hardcore Sunny fan, that news really sucked to hear. She was such a great character in this, but I'm glad we've got many more seasons to come with some amazing Bonnie Kelly scenes, so we get to carry on appreciating her work. Rest in peace, Lynn Marie Stewart. With no car, Dee's forced to take the bus, and there are some real freaks on here who proper give me the creeps to watch.
Would you mind not breathing directly into my mouth?
She spots Charlie and Mac fighting over poppers, so she confronts them on the rooftop. They warn her that she needs to be careful because Luther is likely going to murder the whole gang, and they encourage her to fake her own death too, jogging alone at night through a dangerous park. Meanwhile, with a replacement roommate needed, Dennis takes in a German guy named Jan, and Jan likes to party with hot European girls. But Dennis wants to step it up a notch by inviting these girls and all their friends back to the bar, on the strict instruction that they're not to reveal their names, keeping the anonymous thrill going. Unlike Dennis, Frank's having a hard time moving on, making a Charlie doll to live with him.
It's your turn to take the bedpan out tonight. No, Frank! I did it last time! I'll do it! Only because I like you so much! I like you too, Charlie! I like you too, new Charlie!
Jan has arranged a special surprise for Dennis. There's someone waiting for him at the glory hole, but the willing participant is Frank.
There is no way I can picture that as a girl.
Frank?
Dennis!
And so the party's over, and Jan gets kicked out, effective immediately.
What did I do? What did you do? Jan, you were gonna have him glory hole me. Yeah.
Yeah, my ass.
Are you
Get
kidding
out
me?
of here.
You sex freak, go!
Americans are so uptight.
The supposedly dead half of the gang make their surprise reveal, but Dennis is not surprised one bit, as the whole time they were being loud as hell on the roof, and completely visible while keeping watch through the windows. It turns out this whole thing was a wasted effort anyway, because Luther had no intention of hurting anyone. He's run away to Mexico to get away from the gang for good.
Oops. This whole thing was...
We didn't have to do all the,
Yeah.
Sorry about your car, D.
The memorial service scene and the classic one-off character Jan elevates this episode slightly above part 1, and just in general, I find it to be a slightly funnier episode, taking over the number 1 spot.
4 turds. 5 suspects.
Well, here we have it. We might just have found a worse episode than Gun Fever. I cannot stand this episode, with only one redeeming moment that might just save it from being dead last. Artemis is leading an episode-long investigation to find out who pooped in Frank and Charlie's bed, going into this kind of film noir detective show parody. Wait, no, it's not film noir, but it's got the same kind of music and dramatics.
Convinced that Charlie had discovered his dirty little secret, Frank pooped the bed again the next night as revenge. Only a lot more came out than he expected.
But the actual investigation is just not interesting to me, and it's one of those waste of time cases where the obvious answer ends up being the correct one. Despite all of Artemis's convoluted theories, it was Frank who pooped the bed.
I did every one of them. I even did one while she was wrapping up right here.
Oh, dude, Jesus.
The moment which slightly redeems it is Dee hanging out with the girls and trying to run away in her stolen shoes. That was a great moment, but it's not really enough to save the episode. After rewatching both, I can at least say that Gun Fever doesn't irritate me to watch. So congratulations, Gun Fever, you're no longer the worst episode. In my opinion, of course.
In the trunk for now. You can't kidnap more people to cover up the original kidnapping. It's a classic mistake. Oh.
The gang read a scathing review of Paddy's pub, and they paid a critic a visit to politely get him to reconsider. Well, that was the intention, but they quickly resort to intimidation and vulgarity.
Well, check this out. Oh. You're all out of time, bitch!
Boom! People don't read newspapers anymore.
Oh. How's that for class?
Charlie can't get past it, and kidnaps the critic, Mr. Corman, so the gang get him inside while they think of a plan. Charlie insists on making a deal, where if Corman writes a new review, and a more positive one this time, they'll let him go.
Well, I'll tell you, Mr. Fancy Pants Writer Man. I was thinking maybe you could write a new review, and this time, maybe add a few less lies.
Dennis and Dee go to his place to make it look like he ran away, but it becomes apparent this isn't Corman's place.
Corman lives across the hall.
Oh, does he?
Does he?
To not leave any witnesses, they also have to kidnap this neighbour guy. And they also bring in Corman's cat, due to a mishap in communication. They take a look at his new review, but being stubborn, he just wrote more negativity, including his experience of being kidnapped. They bribe Corman's neighbour not to talk with a flat screen TV, and as for Corman, they take a different approach of getting him to sign an agreement not to go and blab to authorities. But then Charlie knocks him out, not trusting that he'll stick to the agreement. He believes that knocking him out will give him amnesia.
We may as well embrace the amnesia angle because we have no other options at this point. Okay, I'll go get yesterday's newspaper.
Of course, this idea doesn't work, and when the new review comes in, it's another attack on the gang, this time really laying into them.
The owners all deserve to rot in jail, though having to spend every day with each other in that vile establishment is a decidedly greater punishment.
To again peacefully get him to reconsider, they pay him another visit.
Ooh, you know what I want to get?
A really good episode, which again trumps most of the previous seasons. I love the rare episodes where the gang bands together on a joint cause, and you kind of root for them despite being the worst kinds of people. I don't imagine this one will stay near the top, as despite the positives, it's not one I come back to very much. But for now, it belongs here.
Bon Jovi.
Yeah, Mr. Bovine Joni himself.
It's another episode where the titular character story is the one I like the least. They find Dennis's lovemaking diaries, called Dennis Reynolds, An Erotic Life. The gang gets invested in the idea that they can sell these stories, but the problem is, Dennis has no evidence of any of this being true, and so they seek to recreate these stories. This leads into Dennis being knocked out, and hallucinating Sinbad, and also Rob Thomas. Just need to quickly Google and find out who Rob Thomas is. Oh, cool. Yeah, everyone knows Rob Thomas.
That's Rob Thomas, Matchbox 20. Sing a song. Shut up.
This whole segment where Dennis is in a mental asylum, I really don't care for it. It's just not very funny to me. And maybe if I was familiar with Rob Thomas and Sinbad, I might have got something out of it. One of Dennis's stories involves Bon Jovi, and this quest to recreate it is funny, with Frank and Mac speaking to Bon Jovi's agent, but Frank can't say his name right.
I want to do business with Mr. Von Joni himself.
Bon Jovi.
Yeah. Mr. Bovine Joni himself.
Also, Mac wearing a bald cap and pretending to have cancer, all the while overlooking a small detail.
I don't think you have cancer.
What? What are you talking about? No, that's chemo. That's chemotherapy, right?
When you go through chemo, your beard hair falls out too.
Are you sure? I asked a lot of people. I asked like...
The far superior storyline is Dee and Charlie comparing their lifestyles, arguing over who has a tougher life. Starting with Charlie having to wolf down a tin of cat food every night and also huffing glue to make himself sick enough to the point where he's able to sleep through the deafening noises of alley cats.
There's gonna be about 50 cats howling outside that window all night long, and you have no idea how loud 50 cats can be.
I love seeing Frank taking part in this, just so casually, like it's any normal kind of way to live. Dee ignores the advice of peeing into a can and ventures towards the communal toilets, having to traverse this nightmarish hallway.
Come play with us forever and ever.
Now it's Dee's turn to show Charlie what problems she deals with. Every night she goes to an open mic comedy club, hoping that one day she can get through a routine without gagging.
What's the deal with those hands-free headsets that everybody's wearing in their ears, right?
It's amazing how convincing and guttural her gagging is. She signs up Charlie to go next, and he immediately gags too, but it's not quite as funny as Dee's.
I always wonder, like, what is cheese? Where does it go?
Everybody look at me. I'm 1 part robot and 3 parts asshole.
There are quite a few funny moments in this one, but the whole Dennis in the asylum stuff, it just doesn't connect with me. So with all this in mind, I think around the middle of the pack feels fair.
Can we talk about the mail, please, Mac? I'm dying to talk about the mail with you all day, okay?
Another decent episode, which all starts off with the gang not caring about what's going on with Dee.
Good one. Yeah, God, what is her problem? I don't know.
Charlie and Mac learn the harsh reality of the US healthcare system, in that if you don't have health insurance, you're basically dog food. Don't be too envious, my US friends. Sure, our healthcare is free, but in the UK, you will have died while on hold, waiting in queue to book your appointment, with a bad-tempered receptionist who only wished you died sooner to not inconvenience their day. Mac and Charlie get a job that includes healthcare, working in the post room of an office building. The guy who interviewed them ends up playing the iconic character who simply goes by the name The Waiter.
For several years, I've been in complete charge of pretty much everything in my life.
I don't miss
That
a
would
beat,
actually be him.
you know?
Michael Norton's improv skills in this scene created another amazing blooper reel.
2005 to 2006, education.
All year.
Okay, 2 years. It just says, okay, you know what? Let's just go. The last thing is education, 2005 to 2006. Odd jobs here and there.
Here and there. Here and there, but mostly here.
And there. Okay.
Charlie ends up overworking himself and getting wrapped up in a completely bogus conspiracy theory, which is where this meme comes from.
Now let's talk about the mail. Can we talk about the mail, please, Mac? I'm dying to talk about the mail with you all day, okay?
Meanwhile, Dennis and Dee are focusing on their physical health in a way that requires the least effort. They go down the cosmetic route, using cheap Chinese products, and of course it goes very badly.
I'm thinking about doing something to my earlobes. I've never really liked my earlobes. Oh, Jesus.
What?
Frank is making the most out of his access to an endless supply of drugs, and he ends up getting so high that he gets taken into a mental asylum, in a parody of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Beautiful. Come on, let's get the hell out of here.
And that's where the episode ends. I like this episode a great deal, but it doesn't have some of the same magic as many of the classics, so it's just shy of the top 10.
Yes!
This episode is ranked really low on IMDb, and I gotta say, that doesn't sit right with me. But you know, each to their own. We all have our preferences, and it's a good time to remind you not to get mad at my rankings. You're free to make your own analysis and rankings if you have this much time to spare. But if you don't want to do that, maybe just hush your beak and enjoy the ride.
Move past it. I can't get it.
Let's move past it. Let's put it behind us, guys.
The gang want Paddy's to be listed as a historical landmark, claiming it to be the site where the Liberty Bell got cracked. The episode then goes back in time to 1776 to demonstrate how it happened. Dennis and Mac want to show the British Army that they have their support in the war, as it's looking very likely that the British are going to win. Damn right. They pick out some outfits to go speak with the Brits, and their leader, Colonel Cricket, hoping to bribe their favour with ale. And to keep things consistent, Cricket falls in love with Dee, who the gang believe to be a witch.
Madam. Whoa! Hey, what the hell are you doing? Get out of here! You're making things worse!
I do desire to seek further counsel with the lady.
Lady. The witch! The same girl we just been talking about?
Stepping up their disguises, Mac has got some wooden teeth, and Dennis has become a dandy man aristocrat.
Oh, I got some wooden teeth put
Did
in.
you?
Yeah, well, all the Patriots are doing it, including Washington, which is why it makes sense, okay, if we're going undercover.
And I love this scene, where they both become aristocrats and practice their British nobility accent.
Would you like a spot of tea? Yes. Draw it out more. Draw it out more than that. Yes.
Yes.
Meanwhile, Charlie and Frank are in the business of thievery, and there's a great moment where they believe Dee has cursed their guns to jam.
Let's try this one. Nothing. Try me.
Colonel Cricket convinces Dee to become his wife, but Charlie and Frank will only sell her if he sweetens the deal by buying their guns, spitting at him repeatedly to show their dominance in the transaction. Due to the defective guns, the British lose the war, but Frank then proves that the guns aren't defective by blasting off Cricket's head.
God damn it, Frank! You just ruined my whole life!
Wait. Check his pulse.
He doesn't have a head!
When they put his headless body on a horse, it rides past the guys carrying the Liberty Bell, and that's how it got cracked. It's a very silly ending, one which the historian doesn't believe, so they insist on telling the story again, but this time in excruciating detail.
You know what? Sit back, get comfortable. This is gonna take a little longer this time. Okay, you ready?
It starts the same.
Okay.
I love the amount of effort that went into making this one, turning all of the characters into historical versions of themselves, while keeping the same dynamic of the gang, and making a story work with the time period is just really commendable. I never get tired of watching this one, and out of the episodes we've seen so far, this deserves third place, and I'm not going to apologise for it.
Su vida es no más. Somos extremos.
This season is coming to an end on an absolute high. In this one, the gang get obsessed with watching Extreme Home Makeover. Anyone watching under the age of 25 probably has no idea what the hell this show is. The absolute hype beast that was Ty Pennington, taking these unfortunate families and giving them these crazy new houses, which I can only imagine that none of these families were able to afford the upkeep.
Oh my gosh.
I am never gonna financially recover from this.
Anyway, back to the episode. The gang have individually made vision boards about what they want most in life. Dee reminds them that to make these visions come true, they have to do something good for others. And so they look for a family to give them an extreme home makeover. In the spirit of doing things extreme, they break into the Juarez family's house and try to replicate what the show does, but it comes off like a kidnapping.
What's wrong, buddy? Come on! I'm trying to help you! Hey, where's your wife? Rhoda!
Still, can't run from the kindness of strangers!
Dee uses her limited Spanish to try and communicate what's happening, but it goes horribly lost in translation.
Su casa es no más. Su vida es no más. Somos extremos.
Back in the Juarez house, they're trying to tear down the walls with no experience or knowledge in construction, so they're just smashing random stuff.
It didn't really dent the wall, though.
No, but it did break the lamp, and
It
that's
did break
part
the
of it,
lamp.
so
Well, that was
I'm gonna
fun.
break this.
Frank gets kicked off from being foreman for daring to criticise the Extreme Home Makeover TV show, which Charlie loves. And when he joins Dee and Mac, he ends up making the tensions with the Juarez family worse.
Corta!
Charlie's one idea he brings to the table is making a taco bed for the Juarez daughter. He's making this suggestion with such innocence that he doesn't see the stereotyping he's doing.
And I got these cute little brown PJs so that she gets to feel like ground meat while she's sleeping.
She's the
you know?
ground meat in the
She's
middle.
the ground meat in the middle.
I like that, man. That's a good idea.
When they can't afford all of these materials, they get the dad to open up a credit card, because that's the American way. It's an insignificant moment, but people would be mad at me if I didn't mention this scene, where Dennis demonstrates how unrestricted he is after making his own jean shorts.
Dad, I can go lower.
Bro, that is badass.
They get tired of not making much progress, and decide to do a controlled burn, the results of which are shown when they do the classic move that bus bit. The taco bed being the only thing to survive kills me. Such a funny reveal. I love this episode, and perhaps I'm being a bit biased here, because like Charlie, I used to love watching Extreme Home Makeover. So naturally, this episode appeals to me, and to see these idiots go in completely reckless and clueless as to what they're actually doing is priceless stuff. I know in my heart that this is not the best episode ever, but I do think the quality of the comedy puts it higher on the list, just under Mac and Charlie Die.
Tiny boy, little boy, baby boy, I need you.
Alright, it's getting serious now. The Night Man Cometh is the most famous episode of Always Sunny. There's no disputing that, and for good reason, because this episode is hilarious start to finish. Charlie's written a musical, and the gang are confused about why he's done this. Charlie never does anything without an ulterior motive, but he assures them there's nothing going on. He just wanted to make a musical, and the gang have all been given parts. Charlie's persona shift to an uppity stage director is really amazing.
Thank you very much. All right, could you give me a second with the talent here? Thank you. Dennis, could you take a 5?
The gang quickly make it all about themselves and start insisting on changes, mostly because they're misinterpreting the script as being about a young boy who's being inappropriately touched.
Tiny boy, little boy, baby boy, I need you. Tiny boy, little boy, want to make love to you, boy.
If you only knew.
Hold on a second.
If that clip didn't make you laugh, I don't want to be your friend. Subscribe to be my friend. Every time the gang cause problems, Charlie's anger level rises, and it really showcases Charlie Day's comedic acting.
So you tell me, little miss all that, what do you want to do? Song or no song?
Song.
Song?
Yeah, song.
So you want to sing a song?
never-
Good!
Yeah,
So back up on your podium you go. Thank you.
I love the part where Frank's terrible line delivery makes the song sound really inappropriate.
You want this baby boy's hole, you gotta pay the troll toll.
Stop. All right, not bad.
He makes a deal with the waitress that if she comes to the play, he will leave her alone forever. The night of the musical cometh, and the whole thing is hilarious. The gang make a complete shambles of their roles, with Dee adding her own lyrics to the song so she doesn't come across as a diddler, and Mac breaking character when the audience laugh at him. Charlie's temper wearing thin, watching his dream being trampled on.
I'm going to smack everyone into tiny little pieces.
When the play is wrapping up, it's revealed that Charlie wrote his own song that he uses to propose to the waitress.
Well, come on stage and join me in this thing called matrimony. Please say yes, so marry me.
Unbelievably, she says no. But Charlie says, well, the deal wasn't official anyway, because even though she came to the play, they never signed on the agreement.
That's it. You can go home. It's over.
Well, we're gonna do it now.
Hold on. Especially nobody just writes a musical for no reason.
I am here. I am past here.
The Nightman Cometh has set the bar extremely high. It's going to be a tough challenge, trying to find a better episode, but there are definitely some strong contenders coming up. Of course, The Nightman Cometh takes the #1 spot for now. I know this hasn't been the most popular series I've covered here, but I know that you guys watching right now are as big a fans of Sunny as me, and if you'd like to help me get these recaps discovered by more people, it would mean the world to me if you shared this video to the Always Sunny subreddit, or some other place where Sunny fans gather. I would do it myself, but that would be self-promotion, which especially on Reddit is very much frowned upon. So, I'll see you in Season 5, or whatever video comes next. In the meantime, why not hear my thoughts on my favourite South Park episode, Make Love, Not Warcraft? Thumbnail is on the screen. Give it a little tap.